There definitely seems to be a very recent uptick in the general awareness of, uh, give me just 2 seconds here. We're going to admit, there we go. Uh, the general awareness of what is called mass psychosis, and that there is truly a phenomenon that occurs within a collective body wherein information is deluged into the masses, creates a sense of fear, and from that fear, they're able to uh, create a sense of hypnosis within it as well. And the hypnosis relies on individuals being locked into a primarily mental construct, and that is what we're brought up into as children, and that is what the education system and all of that is meant to do, to bring us into a box that says that the mental identity you have is all that you have. And of course, when we tell you to do something, there's no other authority to work with. Marcia, is there anything that you've noticed specifically regarding like the mass psychosis awareness, meaning maybe people that are more in the middle where, yeah, they went out and got themselves warp speeded. Yeah, they've been putting the thing on their face, but they're now starting to see that there's a massive hypocrisy laced into much of the data.
I don't know how much of it is data driven. Maybe it is. I know that there's a weariness that's taking place on a mental and emotional level that is saying, like, I don't know how much longer I want to be on this particular treadmill. And there are people that I saw kind of banging the gong, not even, 2 months ago, that are now stepping off that treadmill. So I think that treadmill is speeding up, and the human physical form may be having a tough time keeping up with what's being asked of it.
So what I think I'm hearing you saying is that it's just starting to feel too bad, that this really isn't even a hypocrisy in the, information that they're seeing. It's just starting to feel too much.
I think it's starting to feel overwhelming. And I think it's starting to feel so not right that people are now starting to ask more questions, or maybe even just be open to hearing things they weren't able to hear, maybe even 6 to 8 weeks ago. From Spirit's perspective, this is I don't want to say dislodging, but to some degree, like a dislodging of the light body from the physical form to create what we might call like a God mimic structure. And it takes, time for that to happen. It can't happen in 1 or 2 doses. It has to happen, over time. And by the time we're in 4-dose territory, we're not operating with the original, pineal gland structure, the solar plexus structure, or the root chakra still connected to the organic grid in a way that it was meant to be protected. And especially during this time when the soul is having the space to embody in form, in a fullness, in a way that it never has on Earth. So this has been, done purposefully on many levels, but to also create this disassociation from wanting to connect with God, wanting to connect with soul, so that we are focused primarily on what we might call the middle realm, going to concerts, going to the sporting events, going to the restaurants, doing the things we enjoy doing at a human level, but never really asking any deeper questions. And, we talk about that movement from screen to screen to screen, and how if we're not putting our feet on the earth, we are not getting those daily light codes that are being infused every single day and giving us the grounding and the sustenance, the nourishment and the quantum charge that we need to actually be the leaders and the walking masters of this time. And we simply do that by living our life in alignment. We're not being asked to do stand on a stage or lead people anywhere. By no means are we supposed to be doing that. We're meant to be radiating our light. And that comes from being authentic and true to who we absolutely are. And we've talked in the past, which that means like not massaging what's coming out of our mouth. You know, we can be compassionate and direct. We don't have to sugarcoat or kind of sidestep or omit or tell a little white lie. Like those things will not be able to make it through where we are going next without having kind of a severe karmic, almost boomerang right in our face.
And that's really, really important to remember when you're actually being coerced, because it is so much human nature to want to just like be deceitful towards the entity that is trying to coerce you. And I'll give you an example of this, because on the internet now, or social networking, there's a kind of a diaspora. Everybody's getting off of Twitter, getting off of Facebook, and trying to find non-censored platforms. And within those other platforms that people are joining, there are people trying to sell paper passports that show that you've had a warp speeder scenario for yourself. That's just, you buy it online and they send it to you. And I think that's a great example of how an individual can get themselves in a really karmic spiral when they intended just to make life easier for themselves. And like you say, Marsha, where we're going, you really got to nip that type of mental problem solving in the butt, because that type of decision making it comes from our mental prowess, and it comes from a sense of cleverness. And you truly have to dispel that before you're going to become an expanded individual, because you're literally at that point trying to get one over on a party that's trying to get one over on you. So
yeah, you're engaged in the polarity at that point, and you're in this, the satanic or satanic, however you want to call it, matrix, the inverted matrix, what my friend referred to so wonderfully this week as Bizarro world. You've now contracted and consented with that. And I think it's fear, or like you said, convenience. But I think this year in particular, we're going to start to realize there's no buffer of time between our thoughts becoming things, reflecting back to us in our physical reality. And if we are doing something just to make our lives easier, but we're still contracted to that matrix, then it's still going to have, the debris that comes with being part of that matrix. We have to trust there's a way forward through our alignment that, it might not look easy to the ego. It might look very daunting, but to the soul knows the beautiful winding path through all the bullshit. Big time.
And that really circles back to a previous episode of Sanctuary, where we drilled down into the creator versus consumer mentality. That if you're going to use your personality, I don't know what the right word is, like refer your personality to your creatorship. It's like defer your personality to your creatorship, because the personality truly just wants to consume. And, there are people out there that are literally consuming out of a need to distract themselves from Bizarro world, because they know they can't do anything about it individually, and it's making them feel really, really bad. They don't have anybody or a community to feel better within. And so again, they're being clever. They're making a mental decision to use content or media or whatever it is, gaming, anything. It can be anything to distract themselves. And that has its own ramifications as well. You're just literally delaying your own capacity or opportunity for capacity. And I'm just as guilty of it as anybody. One thing that I've noticed is that once you really, really take yourself off of the corporate social platforms, you clean your energetic body up. Like, I don't even know how much. It's just a crazy percentage amount. This stuff is so sewage based now, and it really, I just have to say it as an individual opinion, that it seems like with every single app update, it feels worse and worse to use. It's almost like there's some type of I don't know, increase in the weaponization of these platforms. So, uh, any advice that you can take around cleaning up your activities, where it's just maybe a couple of minutes? Oh, just sit down and just thumb around on this for just a little while. And it's those little things that, once you start working with your energetic body, you literally feel like you just got like tarnished. Like, I don't even want to say the R word, but
Soiled.
yeah, soiled. It's just like you feel like just a yuck, and I guess that's Bizarro world in a little like ketchup packet size that you just spread all over your lips and your hands and everything. And it's just, I've found that it's all of this has increased really kind of heavily over the last whatever months, the last quarter of 2021. And I've reached my threshold. I know that it feels really awkward to have everybody in America and around the world diasporing, like literally leaving to go elsewhere. Now we're all disconnected, and that almost kind of creates its own issue. We have a conversation about what happens when everybody just gets separated, and because we're seeking to not be censored, and so we literally become compartmentalized even more. Um, that's why I really appreciate, the fact that we've been able to get people to come on to Sanctuary and find some value in this, because we don't really have any massive intent. It's just literally to speak about our own experiences and speak to some of the, maturity points and pragmacy points that is lost within the collective narrative, so that people can maybe just get some sustenance. I know that when I hear other people that are thinking critically, I'm like, yes, that mofo's got it. And I want to like just this bump. It just makes me feel like there's hope for the world.